Hey everyone, welcome back to our artsy featured guest moment. We are joined today by the lovely Loisse. Loisse, what would you call yourself? Because I was about to introduce you with a certain title, but what do you tell people?
Gosh, this is a journey, but now I'm calling myself a visual artist and designer.
Love. Do you consider yourself a multi-hyphenate?
Oh, for sure.
All right, well, you are right at home then, along with everybody else, because here at Artsy, we not only support our multi-hyphenates, but we celebrate it. You know, too often in a lot of our industries, we're asked to categorize ourselves into one neat little box, and a lot of the times, it's not as clean cut as that. So I gotta ask you, if you were to give like a Bretman Rock multi-hyphenate title for
Oh
yourself,
my God.
what would it be? Give us a Bretman Rock style intro.
Oh my God. To ask me to be like Bretman Rock that's like a miracle, but I'll try. But okay. God. Everyone hates it when people describe themselves as creative director, but honestly, that is what I do. So, creative direction, color shape wrangler, dream maker, um, cultural influencer. I hate that word. Um, Cultural impactor, maybe, and someone who just likes to draw.
So an artist.
An artist.
An artist.
An artiste, yes.
Would there be a specific, like a label for somebody who draws?
Yeah, so that's actually such a weighted question because the labels are defined by our industry, right? But drawing actually can impact, impact commercial goals, it can impact personal goals, it can impact movement, political goals. So that's why I feel like illustrator, which is sort of the common term in the industry, doesn't feel enough. And that's why I shifted to a visual artist because it connects both the action of seeing something as well as the art and the conceptualizing of it and the person who's making it. So right now that's what I feel most resonant with.
Wow, that's really interesting. And do you feel like you've really found what your home in, I guess, your label or your title, or do you kind of feel like it's something that may very well evolve over time?
Yeah, I think it's always going to evolve. And as of right now, how I landed with visual artist and designer was really at least a 3 years long process because in college and post college, I always identified as a designer, but I knew it wasn't complete because I knew that design and art impacts people's lives beyond advertising. which is
Say that
what
again.
which is what I was trained to do. And so eventually I had to really process what art and design meant for me, and even the order art and design or designer and art. Like which one do I prioritize in my work? Maybe no one cares when they see that label, but to me it's really important to put art first before design because it shows me something I should be accountable for.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
Yes, and as well as show people that I'm confident enough in my own abilities as a human, as a person in the world to create art. So that label is ever evolving, and maybe one day I'll drop design, maybe I'll become creative director, maybe I won't be a designer at all anymore. I'm open, but at least right now it feels right.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually such a powerful reframing. I'm a big believer in the power of intentional language and the power
Yes.
of words because that your our language and the words that we choose to use in our daily lives, whether it's out loud or in our heads, that's basically like affirming your beliefs, and your lens on the world. And so I
Yeah.
love that intentional decision. of you saying that, oh, it might not make a difference or mean much for other people for me to put art in front of design, but that intention for yourself and reminder of, oh, I'm always going to prioritize art is a beautiful thing.
It's like, honestly, a surprise we're even able to make art or our creative practices sometimes. That's why it's so much work, and I applaud people who keep doing it anyway.
Yes. Yeah. It's really such a brave thing to do, and almost, I don't know if you would agree, but it's almost like a rebellious act, right? In a society where we are a system designed for us to just work our 9 to 5s, and you know, a lot of people can relate to the weekends not being enough time to rest or recharge because you know, on Saturday that's your day to reset from the day before, and then Sunday is the day to prep for the week ahead. So then where does the opportunity to have creativity and play actually fit into the regular American capitalist system, right? So to your point, it's a very brave and honorable thing for people to still find time to make art or to be creative. I know that you're a corporate girly, or you have a corporate girly background, which is definitely something that we got to talk about. How do you feel being in the professional design space and you know, going to school for that? In what ways has that impacted your art or you as an artist or your creativity? Can you speak a little bit on that?
So my corporate background in having like a design education, and I put quotes on that because design education can come in so many different ways. I went to an art school in New York City. I had been in the design and advertising industry, like networking my butt off, trying to get my foot in the door.
You're good. You're good.
My ass off. So, to go back to your question, I had a very quote unquote industry traditional background into becoming a professional creative. And I always say it's a kind of a double-edged sword where I see so much benefit from it because you understand the systems of these huge corporations and the way they function and how art and creativity is monetized. You get to see it on this side, but then you get to see how exploitative it is at the same time. So I always say that being in the advertising industry was like boot camp for me as an artist.
Interesting.
Because I was deep into the advertising industry grind in New York City. And if anyone's a part of advertising, even globally, you know how tight the timelines are. You understand. You understand. I've heard your story. Oh my God. Just like, you just produce in service of the bottom line.
Oh, that even hurts.
Yeah.
Here again.
God, yeah. Yes. And I think being on that other side of understanding, though, like how to run a meeting, how to write notes that are very clear in creating a project timeline, getting a deck set up, understanding who are the power holders in a team, understanding how to pitch, all that stuff. Like, I learned all of that being in a corporate background. And when I decided to fully freelance and become an independent artist,
Yes.
Still learning. But all those skills really came into play. But, like, of course, the artist side of me was like, all right, how can we create new systems that are both efficient and life-giving? So I feel like I was able to kind of see the ingredients and, like, took the pieces that felt right and then modify it in a way that's supportive of my life and the people that I work with. So I'm taking it both as a win and a loss, but I think it was helpful for my journey, for sure.
Right. Like you said, I think there's no better way to describe it than a double-edged sword, like many things in life. But It's, because it's one thing if you're going to be an artist and you're going to dedicate and invest in your craft just for your own like soul fulfillment or for as a hobby, but it's another thing if you want to actually be making a living and surviving as an artist and for that to be your source of income.
Yeah.
So knowing what you know now then, if you could go back, let's say, I'm trying to think of the viewer out there who might not have gone to art school or design, gotten an official design degree or certification or anything like that, or maybe not even had a corporate background. If you were someone like that, knowing everything that you know now, what would you do to get started?
I love that question so much. First, really, is mentorship is the thing I would recommend the most. I think mentorship gives you so much power and also a realistic point of view of what journey you're about to embark on. And I don't think anyone can succeed alone. Definitely not. And so I have had so many mentors throughout this journey, and I credit all of them for all the things that I know, even how to set up certain spreadsheets, how to like plan a year of projects, like all these different things that I would have not known if I just Googled it. Like I would not have known the real world applications of it. I could YouTube how to make a spreadsheet, but like what's the purpose of it to create an art practice if I don't know an artist who's doing that? So if I was younger, I think I would definitely recommend seeking out mentorship opportunities. There's so many women-focused / AAPI-focused mentorship programs out there because there's people like us who are like the older siblings who are like, we need this for the next generation. So thank your ates. Thank your titas.
Ates and titas.
Yes.
The backbones.
Truly, the matriarchs. Amazing. So I would definitely recommend mentorship because that shows you, all right, what aspect of the industry do I actually want to do? Is it design? Is it graphic design? Is it packaging design? Is it art direction and advertising? There's so many pathways, but you wouldn't know that right away.
Right.
And then from there, I recommend YouTube. Honestly, I still go on YouTube to learn technical skills all the time. Pay $10 workshops once in a while to like have accountability and it's live. You can learn new skills that way. And also a lot of it is collaborating with other designers, and that's what this is all about, right? So yeah, prompt like your friend from high school to do like a photo shoot in the back. That's what I did. We kind of got hate for it when we were in high school, but that meant we were doing something right.
Fuck them. Sorry.
Yeah, that was pre-Instagram. Like everyone would go up to walls.
But now it's cool.
Now it's cool. Yeah, of course. We knew we were up to something.
The early adopters are always the ones that will get the flack. But you guys were just visionaries. So that's how you know you're doing it right. So that is such stellar advice. Honestly, thank you for sharing that because I don't know, there's just not really a universal rule book or guidebook out there for, what would you do if you want to actually pursue your craft as something that will help you survive and pay your bills and and mentorship being your first answer is incredible. And I just want to share with people watching out there, our artsy fam, we're all about collaboration on our platform, but mentorship is definitely something that we really want to invest in and grow on our platform because we also believe in the power of mentorship as well. Yeah. And I have to ask a sidebar. So if there are any artists or creatives out there who have been seasoned and experienced and established in their industries that are interested in paying it forward and paying it back through mentorship, please let us know either in the comments or shoot us an email, smile@artsy.co. Let the subject line something along the lines of like mentorship, I want to be a mentor, and we will definitely be in touch once we start to build that out a little bit more. And then on the other side, if you're interested in mentorship, please also leave a comment and let us know what kind of mentorship you would like to have, so we can keep that as mind as well as we build out that part of Artsy. So thank you for mentioning that. I gotta ask though, when it comes to you and your mentors, because it sounds like you had a lot of amazing mentor relationships, how did you go about even starting that conversation? Like, do you just walk up to someone and be like, will you mentor me?
That's the age-old question. You're right. That's a great question. So I've done it all kinds of ways, actually. So in the beginning of my career, obviously I didn't have as much audacity. So I just sort of waited for people to come to me, and that could work to a certain point. But in how I'll just give certain examples of how it happened for different mentors. So in my first advertising job as a designer / art director, I had a senior copywriter and a senior designer who would always watch out for me. I didn't ask for it, but I think a big part of it was because I was one of the 2 POC kids in the intern group, and they were also people of color in the advertising agency. Shouts out to them. I still text them to this day, and they're still like, Loisse, you deserve more money.
You need those people in your life. Honestly,
Truly.
you need people to be telling you, reminding you to know your worth, and then to add tax too, especially if you're freelancing or running your service as a business.
That's right. 30%, tack it on.
Yes.
Yes. So in that situation, I am so thankful for them. But I actually was also part of this internship program called Multicultural Advertising Internship Program.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, we just call it MAPE. It's MAPE. It's amazing because they connect. So it's a rigorous application process. So there's different levels of entry to different mentorship programs, but this one was particularly intensive. We had to do a video, we had to do an application, 2 interviews.
Wow.
It was pretty rigorous, but what they promised was they would basically guarantee you internship positions at the top agencies all over the US in advertising. And to this day, the MAPE alumni is still very tight. Like, the cohorts still meet up, etc. So if you MAPE people out there, say hi. Thank you. So one of the senior copywriter was a product of MAPE. So he watched out for me. The other senior designer was the one who looked at my portfolio and was like, let's hire her. And so it sort of just naturally became that they would schedule check-ins with me once a week, and they would just ask, like, how are you doing? Like, is there any way we could make things better for you? And they didn't have to do that. They were not required to do that. So, like, you older people with established careers and industries, like, reach out to the young ones, because they're the ones they're kind of scared and nervous, and you just have to make the first step, and maybe they'll really, really, really benefit from it. So those 2, that is like sort of a very structured one. But recently, I got mentorship from a Filipina badass, Gina Marico.
Okay.
She's based in San Francisco. She owns her own events company, and she does community events all over San Francisco. And I was like, who is this woman? I stalked her on Google. I think she knows this. And I just saw all her different websites, and I was like, I need to talk to her. I'm in this phase of creating my own business structure, and I don't know how to do this exactly, but I know this is my next step. And so I was working for a nonprofit at the time who was creating a mentorship program where you would just tell them who you wanted as your mentor, and they would connect you if they knew them. And so I told them Gina Marico, please. And then we had basically a professional mentorship relationship for about a year, and it was scheduled. She was paid. Once a month we'd have an hour to just talk and consult. And then we wrapped that up. We became friends. We hung out in the Bay, and she hired me for her POC Food and Wine Festival out in the Bay.
What?
Awesome. I feel like you should check
That
it out.
sounds amazing.
Yes. I think even for Astoria. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Astoria fam, we're going.
Yes.
We're going to
POC
the
Food and Wine
Bay.
Festival. Truly. So I did the branding for that with her, and so and to this day we just like text once in a while to check in and see like what things are you doing? Where can I help? Like blah, blah, blah. And I think the biggest part of keeping mentorship relationships is just to treat them as a great person and be kind and also pay attention to what they're doing and add to that rather than constantly feeling like you have to take from this mentor, because they're people too. They don't want to feel like you're always taking from them.
Yeah.
And also, if they give you advice, use it. That's the biggest thing, because people have sought advice from me and then they never use it. And it is really sad and exhausting to like constantly repeat that. So I wanted to give insight on both sides because I've been a mentor and a mentee. But there have been times where I just like them on Instagram and I just start commenting on their posts, and then we start DMing, and then we become sort of mutuals, and then we become friends, and then I travel to where they are, and then we hang out, and then we do a project. That's sort of...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a
She
range.
guess her sign.
We get a bad rap.
No, we love y'all. I mean, our CEO is the same one, and so it checks out. But no, the Gemini is Geminiing.
That's true.
I love that.
We love to make friends, honestly.
Honestly, and that's what I love about you guys, just like little social butterflies.
Yeah.
But what I'm also hearing from your stories is that I feel like this has kind of been a theme in a lot of the things that you've shared, but it sounds like it's really important to have some audacity as an artist, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Truly.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess kind of going back to somebody who might be looking to either start or establish a creative or artistic journey for themselves, officially make that their main thing. Would you recommend for somebody who maybe is interested in art or just doing art as a personal thing, as a hobby, would you recommend going the route of going into corporate or getting like a creative job, or do you think that there are still other ways to succeed as an artist without having an official like corporate title?
Yeah, so this is such a great question because it shows how diverse our needs as people are, and my answer will not work for everyone. So to me, I don't think you have to have a corporate background at all to succeed in design. I also don't think you need a university degree to feel qualified to call yourself a designer. All it is you go to a room and learn things, right? That's what college is.
Pretty much,
You
yeah.
can do that anywhere as long as you have good teachers. So to me, I think the biggest support that I had starting out was having a community of people who were just as passionate about it, who were training themselves, who were learning things outside of the classroom, who were going out to meet and have coffee with these creatives outside in the industry. They were the ones going to art shows, art galleries, etc., and really putting themselves out there in the ways that they could to learn about the industry and also meet people in the industry. That's exhausting, of course, so you have to take care of yourself in this process because you can very easily chase after what everyone else is chasing and not check in with what you actually want. So to me, I think it's more important to find a creative community around you who is super inspiring and super ambitious also, but keeping in mind wellness. That's my always asterisk, because creatives can like burn themselves out very, very easily. So long story short, no, you do not need a corporate background. You don't need a university degree. But it's really important to stay consistent, have good people around you, and check in with yourself about where you're going. And then you just do that over and over, over and over.
And something will happen.
And something will happen. It will happen. It always does.
It's amazing. That is such amazing and I think comforting advice too, to know that you don't have to go through the official processes and systems that we were taught was, you know, the pathway to success when going to school. And I love that the gist of your answer was to find a creative community. And it sounds like also collaboration was a big part of your journey as well. And so that's what we really strive to do and what we're all about with Artsy. If you don't know where to start when it comes to finding a creative community, start with us. We're a platform that is designed to just not only for you to not only find opportunities as an artist or creative, but to also create those opportunities, to initiate those collaborations, and for everyone to be able to find each other and help each other out, and it be a mutually beneficial growth in everyone's journees. And so I absolutely love, just from our side, that your answer was community and collaboration, right?
Yes. I always like to say, oh, this is going down.
You're good.
I always like to imagine if I lived in like a pre-colonial village setting, how would I still be an artist? I ask myself that. And I think I still would, because in our hearts, and I think in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies, we tend to gravitate to the things we really resonate with. And so I think in those times, there were not universities, there was no corporate offices, there was no music festivals, there was no like all these constructed definitions of success about being an artist. That didn't exist. And I think, how would I have learned? I would have learned from the other artists in my village. I would have had to practice and go out into the woods and find materials. I would have had to lean on other people's knowledge for me to learn. I think it's the same thing now, and we're driven by that innate feeling that we need to create. So I like to think of it that way.
That is an absolutely stunning allegory, stunning like metaphor, just like way to think about it. The thought of asking yourself, would I still be an artist if I lived in a pre-colonial village? That is so beautiful. I'm probably going to be sitting on that for a little bit, because I know you're an artist because of just your lens of the world and life and the way that you frame things. You really just are such an artist to your soul.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing that, because I follow you and all your amazing work and just obsessed with everything that you put out. I do know how important your culture and your heritage is to you, and you've never had to tell me, because it's like such a show don't tell sort of thing. So can you talk a little bit about how your background, your heritage influences your art?
God, we could sit here for another hour just talking about this, but we won't. I'll keep it short. It impacts me in small and big ways. So I can start with the small ways. Well,
first, can you tell us what's your background?
Oh, yes. Good question. So I am a Cebuana. I was born in Cebu in the Philippines, and so I identify as Cebuana and Filipina, and Filipino American also, depending on the crowd. It really, cultural identity and labels is its own story. The difference between saying I'm a Cebuana and Filipina is, a lot of it is really giving honor to my family, I would say, and the background that I had, which really informs still my day-to-day. So I grew up in Cebu City, and I would go to the province a lot in Balamban and see my dad's side of the family, and I just draw so much inspiration and power from my relatives, and so to acknowledge like exactly where we're from, I think is really important, and to realize that I am connected to a very real family tree. Because we are so disconnected here in the US that it's super important for me. Like you said, the power of words. So Cebuana is very intimate to me. And then Filipina, to me, that is more so like kind of drawing power from our shared cultural identity that is more broad and more about kind of our global identity in the world. So like when I say that, I identify with like our country's issues, our cultural things, our toxic behavior, our good behavior, all those things. And then Filipino American is that label to me is more identifying that I have a privilege that homeland Filipinos are not able to claim. And so I can never say in a, let's say like I'm in a boardroom of homeland Filipinos who are talking about their experience, etc. I'm never gonna say I am from here too. I'm a Filipino that's grown up here for my whole life. Like I cannot say that, and I can never understand the struggles of that. And so Filipino American is more just to understand that I have a lot of privilege growing up with the access that I did, but also acknowledging we have a Filipino American history as well. Like we had to fight to also stay here and be here, that homeland Filipinos also don't understand, and that's okay. We just have different backgrounds. So
right. They're just different experiences.
Yeah.
But again, the power of that language and just identification. I love how intentional you are about it all.
Thank you. It's ever evolving, like we talked about earlier with artist and designer, and I know even us as a culture, we're still grappling with Filipino as a word, that especially because it's from King Philip, right? So we're always shifting as we need and as we feel good about it.
Right. Yeah. So one way I knew that your identity is kind of like a lot of the heart of your art too, or just influences it so much, is let's talk about Miss Life is Beautiful muralist over here. Yes. For those who are not familiar with Life is Beautiful, we are filming right now out here in Las Vegas. We're based out in Las Vegas. Life is Beautiful is an annual music festival that is held in downtown Vegas, or downtown Las Vegas. They close off all of the streets. So you're like walking through stoplights or streets that normally there are cars and stoplights, and they just transform all of downtown into a giant music and arts festival. And Louise had the incredible honor last year in 2023, right?
Yes.
In 2023 of being featured as a muralist at Life is Beautiful. So can you just talk a little bit more about that experience and about, your art and inspiration behind what you decided to paint?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a story this one is. First, in terms of getting the opportunity, this is how important community is. So Randall, which Sunshine knows, who's another amazing creative out here in Las Vegas, was the one who was like, I see your work. I think you would be perfect for this opportunity. So they did a call for artists, and he was the one who put the application literally in front of me and was like, Louise, apply to this. I would not have known because I'm a newcomer to Vegas and still like getting my feet wet, understanding the culture out here. And so him being like, do it. So I did. And in terms of coming up with the idea, there was a whole process, of course, where we collaborated with the organizers, and they were like, these are your parameters. This is like a 10 by 10 or 8 by 8 wall. It's going to be in the middle of the grounds. Like, that's where my design background rolls in, and also my corporate background was like, all right, these are the parameters.
These are the deliverables.
These are the deliverables, that's right. Like, what are we delivering? What is the timeline? How am I going to do this, etc.? What's the budget? And making sure I had all those in a row, because for me, I create my art best when I understand, like, the context of it. And so, to the biggest part of this is, like, the idea of, like, what do I make for a music festival? This is actually also my first mural. So this was kind of a
Wow.
tall order. I've done large scale graphics before, but they were already always printed, but never like me out there painting. So I knew I needed to have something that was really close to my heart. If like my hands were like making it, I'm like lugging paint there. Like it has to be something I'll still love from beginning to the end. So I actually came up with the idea on a plane. In an airplane.
As you do.
As you do, right? On the way to New York City, because I used to live there and I see my friends there a lot and I host events there, and I had like a lot of pressure in my head, like I need to like come up with an idea, like this awesome opportunity. I can't like do this wrong. And I had a totally separate idea of doing posters and just wheat pasting them onto the wall.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my
That's
initial
interesting,
idea.
yeah.
Because I love posters, but then I knew that was a comfort solution. It's like I can just print it and then glue it and it's done. But I knew that was not true to what I wanted to do. So on the plane, I was going through a lot at the time as well, and I often seek out insight from my past relatives, just whether I think of their memory, I think of what they've said to me in the past, and specifically the two that came to mind is my aunt Tita Paulette and my Lola Palda. And these two women hover over my head all the time whenever I'm going through things. And during that time, I just kept imagining them, like even before me being on this plane. And I would always like think, like, what would they do? What would they do? Like, what encouragement would they say to me right now? And then on the plane, I was like, wait, what if I just paint them? And I was, again, thinking of my parameters. Like, people are out here trying to get photos. That's what they want, right? They want something that feels connected to them. They want to feel centered in their experience of going to the music festival. And they also want to feel good about themselves because they're like decked out and like really like people's outfits are always so colorful, etc. Like I was thinking about that. So this symmetry of my tita and Lola was just perfect to like frame the humans that are like on the ground. And I was like almost like, look, this is how I feel. I hope you feel this too with this painting. And so yeah, that's how I landed with the hands hovering over you, and you can stand right in the middle, and I made sure the scale of them would be so like large, and like you can feel them sort of going around you. And then in the center you can take your photo, do whatever you need to. And I had clouds kind of like surrounding you that were backlit, so it could have that more of like that ethereal feeling. Oh my God. And yeah, just like kind of showing like this connection of heaven and earth in a way, outside of biblical definition, just like however you want to talk about it, spiritual plane, the earthly plane. I wanted to cross those. And so that's why I titled it Ancestral Blessings.
I could fall out of my chair right now. That is so beautiful. And man, that really does. I think that's a amazing illustration or example of how your professional experience can actually be beneficial, or how it has helped you in an opportunity like this. Because I mean, even thinking about the intention of, oh, people are going to take pictures by this. How can I make it or craft it to be something that fits with the context of the environment? Like you said, context is really important to you. And so I love that thought process behind that. That's beautiful.
Thank you for seeing that. I appreciate it.
Of course. And then you brought your mom, right?
Yes,
I saw that.
Yes.
You brought your mom to a music festival, her first music
God.
festival.
Her first music festival. We went to a silent disco.
Hey.
It's so
How was it for her?
So cute. I think she had a lot of fun.
Cute.
But it was, I brought my mom there, and crazy. Her hair, she has both a lot of white and black hair. And in my painting, there's like sort of a streak in the hair that's a different color from like most of the hair. And then when I was looking at my mom and her side view, she has the same streak of like black hair against the white.
So it wasn't intentional?
It wasn't intentional that she was like matching. And I was like, this is insane. Like, just being able to bring my mom to a project, especially because we used to live far away from each other, like she can go and enjoy it and like look at the art herself, like that was such a moment. And,
literal
like,
full circle ancestral blessing moment.
Literally, I was just like, this is, the matriarchs are just watching over me right now, including the one that's right in front of me.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit here, because
Yes.
we couldn't let this interview go without showcasing something that we were talking about earlier. But you know, you talked about how you went to school for design, right? And
Yeah.
then you had your whole corporate girly era,
Yeah.
and now you're full-time entrepreneurship. You went from freelancing and then made it official by just having your own business, right? What's
Yeah.
your business called?
So it's called Geez Loisse Studios.
Yes, she's an LLC. Let's go.
Let's go.
Before we move on to that a little bit, can you talk about how important it is for freelancers, if you think it is, for freelancers to consider just starting a business?
Yeah. So for for anyone who's a creative who wants to start freelancing, I think a big part of it is understanding that you're going to build your own systems. And that can be both exciting and really overwhelming at the same time. But just know that you can figure it out on the way. That's sort of what I did. And also knowing that I need help is a big part of it. Because a lot of the times, right, when we don't know something, we just avoid it until it becomes an issue later. And one of those things when I first started was like, how much do I charge as a freelancer? I don't have a salary anymore. And I thought that I would have to just like, oh, I won't talk about this. Like, I should be like, I should hide this hourly rate thing, or like, I should hide my rates basically until I figure it out. But then I realized, wait, I could talk to a financial advisor and they could tell me how much I should charge.
Okay.
And what I did was I looked up free financial advising online, and they had a free consultation. And in that 1 hour, the advisor was like, oh, as a freelancer, you just have to pay 30% taxes, account for insurance, account for this, account for that. She had a calculator spreadsheet, and she doubled my hourly rate from what I thought I should have been charging.
Ooh.
And I was like, what the freak? Really? I need to be charging almost $100 an hour? That's crazy. That's a crazy number at that time, especially because I was like, I don't know, I'm just doing this for fun. And because she empowered me with facts and figures, I was like, yeah, why would I not charge this? Like, why would I pay for someone to pay me? At the end of the day, if I charged $30 an hour, all that money would go to taxes, pretty much. I'd get paid $5. That's less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
And so when you
important.
account for the systems that are in the world, I think you feel more empowered to like either charge more or set up like a different business system, a different way of accounting for your projects, etc., and not be afraid because it's based in reality. So just know when you start, it'll be a lot of confusion and a lot of unknowns, but just ask for help along the way.
Yeah, and just be resourceful. Like,
Yes,
you are
free
so.
consultation.
Because the theme I'm hearing from this interview, which is really just your experience, is that you're just resourceful as fuck. You
Yes.
seek out when you don't know something.
Poverty trauma.
Poverty trauma.
But
Just like
also,
gotta
yes.
be like, yeah.
Yes.
But that also speaks to just when you're starting out in anything, you gotta be scrappy. You know, you gotta be
Yes.
resourceful, and not everyone has the privilege or the advantages to be able to just invest in a service.
Definitely.
right? Like you were saying earlier, YouTube is free.
Yes.
That's a great resource as well. But the internet is like a mind-blowing resource, especially for artists and creatives in this day who need to get started.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. Such good advice, and hopefully to anybody out there who has been feeling a pull or just curious about getting started in basically charging for your craft, for your work. Know that you can be resourceful if you don't know everything. You don't have to know everything.
Yeah. No, you don't. Not at all.
You figure it out.
That's right.
So going back to Geez Louise, it's so cute. By the way, I see that we have a little something over there off camera to show off. Can we do a little plug? So what is going on? This is so cute. Tell us more about this. First of all, logo check. Would you call that your logo? It is so beautiful. I'm obsessed. So Geez Loisse Studios has a merch line now. Is this a merch drop?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Hey. Oh my gosh, look how cute. Yes.
I love it. Yes. Where do I start?
Tell us more about how you got inspired to start a merch line for your brand. I shouldn't even say your business. This is your brand at this point.
Yeah. Honestly, in terms of how I landed on Geez Loisse Studios in general was that I didn't want to work alone anymore. So most of the time freelancers are solopreneurs, right? Or you do one service and that's all you do, like for at least majority of your time. And I knew that I wanted to make systems that allowed me to do other things beyond graphic design. And so I've always loved merch. I've always loved music merch drops, like from my favorite artists. I love going to concerts. I love streetwear in general. I have been testing with merch ever since I've been in college. I took a screen printing class and loved it ever since. So it was just sort of a natural evolution to be like, guys, look, this is beyond me now. This is a thing that we all can attach our own meaning to, and you can like wear it for your workouts, wear it for yourself, wear it for your cool outfit. Like, I just want to be part of people's lives in a different way aside from just like art and painting. And so Geez Loisse Studios really is sort of like my jumping off point to like try all kinds of different things. So I'm really excited, and to hire other people to like get on the goal of adding color to community, which is my whole mantra. So all the colorful baddies out there, let me know if you need to work on something together.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And so, what an amazing why for your brand or your business. And like, I keep going back to intention. Your intentions are just so solid and so rich. So anybody that gets to come in your sphere is so blessed. I feel like you add that, just your mission to add more color to the world is very much needed, especially in this. And not to go on a whole tangent, but like, what is up with this like light gray stone wash?
Don't get me started on this
thing going on everywhere. Like, you know, like apartments and stuff.
Yeah.
What's
gray
happening?
Floors. Yeah. Are you serious?
Like light gray. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not go into it because it's just. You're doing the Lord's work.
Thank you. I would love to talk more about urban planning and developers creating a really sad world for us to live in. That's a whole other thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're definitely going to have you back, because this could definitely be like a Tim Ferriss 3-hour length podcast. I could talk to you forever. So I have two more questions for you. One of them is like the closing question, but I also couldn't let this interview go without touching on, I just found this out in between takes. Do we have a former thespian over here?
Oh my God.
Or actually, is it even former? Because once you're in, you're in for life, right?
Yes. Truly. Oh my God.
Okay, talk to us
Theater.
about your theater kid, background, and if
Wow.
there's anything that you feel like you've learned from that background that you've been able to take into your creative and just life today.
First, I just want to say theater changed my life. Period. Okay.
Period.
And I want to start this story by going back to when I was like 8 years old. And even then, I was like, I want to be a fashion designer. I already had that in my mind. I wanted to be a creative, like something like that. But the asterisk on that was like, I hate public speaking. I had stage fright. I had such social anxiety at that age. And I was like, if I could be a fashion designer, but if somebody else could explain my ideas, that would be great. I already had that mindset at 8 years old. But in school, and this is why arts in schools is amazing and should continue to get funded, is we would do plays in elementary school, and I played like a book, a singing book. And for some reason, if I only had to sing and like have a script, the social anxiety went away. And that sort of continued even into high school, where I did theater for 3 years of the 4 years. I only did not do it the freshman year because I had social anxiety about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, like I have to
It's a lot.
audition. Yeah.
It's alright. I mean, you're going to a new school, you're fresh meat, and then you gotta like throw yourselves to the wolves too. That's so
Exactly.
understandable.
Totally, yeah. And shout out to my ate, my older sister, who was the one who like literally pushed me into the audition room and got me started. But all that to say,
Wait, what was the audition for?
oh my God, Much Ado About Nothing
Oh,
by Shakespeare.
she's a classic. She went straight.
Yeah.
You went 0 to 100.
Literally, it's so hilarious. I don't remember any more of my role, but I was one of the main cast for a beginning. So yeah,
Wow.
truly fascinating process. Yeah, Much Ado About Nothing, first audition, and then we did The Odd Couple, we did Seussical.
You got to do Odd Couple.
Yeah,
I'm
we
so
did.
jealous. That's so cool.
We did like a girl version and
Yes.
a guy version. Yeah, so I was one of the two, one of the two in the couple.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
But my favorite was the Seussical. I played Gertrude McFuzz.
Oh.
I was a bird in love with Horton the elephant.
Of course, Seussical would be your favorite. I mean,
Yeah,
all the colors.
It made sense. And on that note, I painted the sets. I made their costumes because we were very scrappy, but I was able to touch all these like our creative artistic things and work on my public speaking and my delivery and sing. Like it was just like theater just was like my playground, honestly.
Truly.
Yeah. And when we would have like warm-ups, you would know it's like project, enunciate, like pronounce your T's, right? Like that taught me how to be a better speaker and gave me, like we were talking about it, the audacity to speak and use my voice loudly in rooms when I felt like I was supposed to be in the background. So that was
so
really
good.
a boot camp again.
Foundational.
Truly. Yeah. And now it comes out during karaoke, but that's really
Oh, we gotta go. We gotta go to karaoke sometime then.
You know it.
Say less.
Yes, but theater changed my life. Shout out to Mrs. Moon, who was my director all those years. She changed a lot of people's lives for sure.
But that's
Yeah.
beautiful, and thank you, for speaking on the importance of keeping arts alive in schools. And so we're very much big proponents of that. We have to be. I mean, we're artsy, but that's such an important thing to recognize and to just everyone out there in any ways that you could support your local arts in your schools, any of those efforts. It's so important because you see just what happens, like what it can catalyze for someone like Loisse, right? Right. Question that we like to wrap up with all of our featured guests. You may or may not have heard this question before, but if your life was a movie or a musical, what what would your opening song be? You know, maybe think about like if you walked into a room.
Oh my God.
What would that song be?
That's hilarious. That's such a good question. Actually, Good Morning Baltimore from Hairspray. Right? It's
That is so fitting
good.
for you. I can like, literally see you walking into a room.
Yes, I think that song just like captures like how your view of life shifts your mood. Cause like she's literally dancing with rats. You know what I mean?
That's so true. That is so true.
And she's just like so joyful, and even like in the scene, people like are like it's infectious, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's why I love that song. I think that's me.
Oh my God, that's perfect. Okay, so Loisse, tell us where we can find you. I mean, you can find Loisse on Artsy, first of all. You could find her portfolio there. What kind of people do you want to work or collaborate with for anyone watching out there?
Yes, I would love to collaborate with both businesses, organizers, and artists and arts and cultural institutions like museums, etc., who are really excited to give art to their community and make meaning that way. So I've worked on creating posters for plays that are about racial generational trauma. How do we make art from that? I've made art about the border, talking about immigration issues, but I've also made art about just like joy and love and family. So anything in that breath, like if you really love color and boldness and vibrancy, like I'm your girl. Please email me.
Yes.
You can find me on Artsy and geezloisse.com. So I don't know if you can see the spelling, geezloisse.com. And you can see all the work that I've done so far and more. And I'm also on Instagram at Geez Loisse.
Yes, make sure to connect to her on all the things. But Loisse, oh my gosh, it has been too much fun. We need 3 more hours with you, so we will definitely be asking you back if you will come back.
For sure. I'm here for it.
But thank you again for joining us. If you have any final thoughts, feel free to share. But other than that,
I love it. Well, just keep supporting Artsy. There's so much heart and intention that has come into this work. So just know that this is built on so much love for the community. It's not just like a business that is just passing through. Like this is rooted. So please support them.
not that being your final thought. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. We appreciate that so much. Thank you again, Loisse.
Thank you. Yay!